With this mid-season patch, Manticore just got a ginormous buff. But even with reading its buffs, it didn't really give too much hope for the weapon. It was until trying it out, I realized that this thing is now a monster. Thankfully, with all the archetypes Bungie could have given the Manticore, they gave it the one that has the highest DPS value, the lightweight 900 rounds per minute frame. Thankfully, whoever made this damage spreadsheet also included Manticore's damage. And with a quick glance here, it all checks out. Manticore's grounded state is the same as just lightweight frames, of course, but then when looking at its airborne stat, it ramps up by double. And that is because Manticore's secondary perk, Swooping Talons. Previously, it gave the player a ramping 40% increase in damage while in air, and now it grants the player a ramping 100% damage increase, of course, while in midair. Now making it the new king for the primaries that receive the highest buffs, along with not damaging the user as well. Where its true power lies though is in its catalyst. So for those that didn't complete that, it's definitely worth getting done now. For the catalyst does multiple things that I would consider to be overkill for anyone's survivability. And that is, when dealing sustained damage or just by getting kills with the Manticore, the player will receive a void overshield, along with making combatants just not shoot at you at all. When it comes to its base description of the catalyst, I can tell you from first-hand experience that it's better than what it says actually. For the catalyst notes that you need to deal sustained damage to receive the less accuracy combatants. But for the less accurate combatants, I think all you really need to do is just be in the air. Take it with a grain of salt, but just by jumping up in the air, all combatants just started missing their shots. Where normally they would lead them just by strafing left or right, they all of a sudden stop leading them when you're in air. This could be a bug or it could be intentional, but either way, it is nice to know that you have a chance while you're in air. Now for the overshield aspect of the catalyst, you indeed need sustained damage on a yellow bar enemy to receive it, but when it comes to the final blows with this weapon, it is free game. Red bar enemies when defeated will grant you an overshield. It doesn't state this, so I'm just letting you know it now. This also goes for the ammo returned in the magazine. Yellow bar damage will refill a portion of the magazine, and any enemy defeated will also just refill this portion of the magazine. But with all of these buffs, as the hunter main I am, we will be going into a GYRFALCON'S build. Last time I made one of these, it was a little bit ago, and it was with Graviton Lance and Le Monarch, but Manticore currently is now 100% a contender for that exotic slot, at least as far as a GYRFALCON'S build goes. You can still hold a lot of benefits on the Titan and the Warlock, but let me tell you, the Hunter does it best. So for the very first portion, of course, we'll be going over the subclass. To briefly go over it, I just use tether because I am a PvE main. And if you're not using your tether for mass damage, hence, you know, Morbius Quiver type shadow shots, you typically would only use this with Orpheus Rig. But since we're using GYRFALCON'S, we're going Deadfall. Deadfall is perfect for ad clear. It's great for boss debuffing, so why not? For our dodge, you can do whatever you want here. It does not matter. I just am going marksman dodge because why not? Slowest cooldown dodge, and along with our aspect, it will help out in the long run. Jump, triple jump. Who cares? Snare bomb's the only option. Grenade, vortex grenade. Choose whatever you want. It's just the one I go with. Now for the aspects, now we're getting to the more important part of the build. Vanishing Step. This is meant to mainly kickstart the build. By getting out of invis, GYRFALCON'S will kick in and make everything volatile with your volatile rounds, of course. So by dodging before you get into combat, you have immediate room clearing potential. Then after that, this is just to keep GYRFALCON'S going, because every kill you get from a volatile enemy will make you re-invis, and then since you're continuously shooting, it will jump you out of invis, resetting your timer for volatile rounds. Now the aspects, of course, Echo of Undermining. Can't go wrong with weakening targets, of course. It's a 15%, and we will just take it. That's just enough of that. Next, we have Echo of Starvation. By picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power, you will grant Devour. The best, hands down, survivability / healing effect you can get in Destiny 2. Restoration Wishes. Next is Echo of Persistence. I want my Devour and my Overshield to last as long as possible. Invis, I don't necessarily care for lasting too long, but it's in there anyways. Especially the Overshield part, you're gonna see it the best with that. Where you will refresh your timer every time you get a kill for Devour. The Void Overshield has a stagnant timer. And with Manticore, just being able to refresh the timer for Overshield while you were out of combat or in between combat phases, maybe reloading your weapon or whatnot, Echo of Persistence will make sure that that Overshield stays on you. Lastly, of course, a way to just spawn Void Breaches. I've been tampering with this one, and I like it. It is worth it. Just by defeating a weakened enemy, they will spawn a void breach. And your grenade weakens. Also your melee, because you're a hunter. Moving on. Of course, the weapon would be Manticore. I don't think I really need to go into it too in depth because I did at the beginning of this video. So now we're just gonna go over the mods. And much like my last build video, there's not much to be said about mods. They're kind of mid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the best thing you can get out of this is just by looking at the screen right now, taking a picture, and then just making it as you go. But I'll be going into it anyways. But before I lose you, because we are about to get into the most mid part of the video, please, for me, go take a look over on my Twitch or drop a subscribe here, for I do live stream. I do lowmans, I do challenges. I was doing trials, if you could believe it or not. And honestly, I just like hanging out with you guys. So if I could see you in my chat every once in a while, that would be awesome. All right. Now time to get into the build. For our first headpiece, of course, a way to spawn orbs for devour. And since we are using GYRFALCON'S HAUBERK, I bet you can guess that we are using a void weapon, the Manticore. So spawn orbs, call it a day. Heavy finder and scout if you're in a team. If you're not in a team, get rid of the scout, put dynamo, why not? You are dodging before you enter combat, whatever you want. Devour gives you your grenade back, believe it or not, upon each kill. So ashes to assets as well, if you really want it. Moving on to the arms, of course, a way to just have faster reloads, and then firepower, because why not spawn an orb when I just throw my grenade? If it by chance kills them, we'll take the orb. The chest piece, you see a bunch of harmonics on it. It's just a placeholder. Really, all I'm trying to say is have a resistance mod on your chest piece. The chest piece has some use of charged up. It's a bit of a stretch. Do what you want with it, really. The legs are the most goated pieces of armor in your entire arsenal. They have literally everything. So for right now, I have, this is what I would call a running build when you're running in the encounter before the boss phase. So I have better already, stacks on stacks, recuperation. This gives you a jump in the health. And this one will top you off if you're not taking any more additional damage. Of course, if you're in a boss phase, you swap it to surges, call it a day. Your class piece, lo and behold, never changes. If you are new around here, just know that my class piece will always be the same class piece you will ever see. It's got time dilation for when I do have surges. I have enough time to complete the whole damage phase. I have a special finisher for having special on demand, and then powerful attraction because I love it to collect orbs. Helps pick out the orbs that are a little hard to find too. Every once in a while you could be surprised if you just dodge randomly. And that about does it for the entire build. All you need to really know about the combat rotation is just dodge before you get into combat, get as many kills or get as much damage as you can off like a yellow bar, stack up your flight mechanic that is stored on a bar on the left side of your screen, and then just start flying. The more damage you do, the more damage buff you will receive. And with GYRFALCON'S HAUBERK, not only will you be dealing mass single target damage, but you will be clearing the room right before your eyes. And that devour will keep you alive the entire time, if you even need it. That's if they can get past the void over shield, and before they can even get past that, they need to land their shots. It's tough out here to be anyone that's not a guardian. All right, but that'll be all for right now, guys. Take care and peace.